Good afternoon, class. This is John Van Slyke, checking in with my online students here with World History 126, or World Civilization 1. And as many of you already know, I have spent part of my weekend grading your first round of essays. And I wanted to just take a few moments to talk to you a little bit about your essays and some observations and impressions that I had to sort of help you adapt and take maybe some of the feedback you received from your week one essay and turn that into greater success and higher scores on your week two efforts. So anyway, first off, I want to take us through here now. This looks probably a little different than how things look for you on your Canvas access, but you'll notice that after the introductory week 0 material, there's a little essay assistance module. I want you to click, and you might want to just keep this document at the ready. These are writing points, specific things that I am emphasizing. And as you might imagine, these writing points also are sort of utilized to comment on a model paper that is also in that essay assistance module. So you might want to see them a little bit more clearly in their context. But essentially what I do here, you can imagine an online instructor who has several students and also who receives a weekly essay from each student. It's a special challenge to try to give meaningful feedback. So one of the tricks that I have employed to sort of help meet the difficult challenge of providing you with feedback is that, for starters, I have adopted what I think are 8 really critical writing skills, and these are 8 things that I stress throughout the quarter. And so those of you who did the essay, and that's probably my first point, is most of you did do the essay for week 1, but there were some of you who did not, and I just want to tell you that's not really an effective way to go through the quarter. So you're going to need to find it within yourself to write and respond to the weekly essay questions. And I provide quite a bit of background and quite a bit of specific instructions to go along with each essay assignment. And if you read it carefully, that is time well spent, because it will help you be certain that you are in fact answering the question and also consulting the sources that I assign that will be useful to helping you come up with a good answer. Essentially, I'm doing the research for you. I'm providing you with the sources that you will need, and then you apply your critical thinking to make that happen. But first off, you'll see these 8 points, and I really just want to emphasize just a few different things. One of the writing points that I regularly referenced as I put comments in the right-hand column or the right-hand margin of many of your essay papers was writing point number 2. And this is so critical. I can't emphasize this one enough. You have to have a thesis statement. Okay, so you need to spend enough time with the material that you can come up with an opinion, pattern, observation that you are coming up with in response to your reading and the topic that I give you. All right, now that might sound tricky. A thesis statement does not have to be highly sophisticated or complex. It can be an observation that you then turn around and spend your essay defending. That's essentially a really critical skill, to make a statement and then arrange an argument around how you would support and provide basic evidence for that statement. Okay, so that statement, could be something as simple as every rock is unique. However, there are 3 different kinds of rock formation that happen in the geological world. And then you could set the stage. You probably want to mention the fact that there are igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary rocks, okay, in your thesis, and then you explain the differences between each. So that's a fairly simple, straightforward thing. What I was looking for this week was that you were going to make a meaningful comparison between how Mesopotamian civilization and Egyptian civilization were similar and different. Okay, so you just have to come up with a statement or observation somewhere in that. Okay, and I even gave some of you examples of thesis statements that would have worked. Okay, so if you're unclear on this, take a look at both the writing point here and then also how it's featured in the sample essay that I list in the essay writing module. Another critical thing is I noticed that some of you are really good about providing quoted evidence, like from the textbook or from your Riley reader. That's wonderful. But don't forget that just because you quote evidence, it doesn't mean your job is done. When you're the writer of an essay, you quote the evidence, you put it out there, you put it in its quotations, you cite it as a source, but then you also have to make meaning of it. You have to do a brief analysis that suggests, yeah, this evidence is important and it proves my point, or it reinforces my idea that ... Okay? Evidence doesn't stand on its own. In a court, when a lawyer provides evidence, the lawyer also has to connect the dots and demonstrate how that evidence actually proves the conclusion or outcome that they are hoping that you, the jury, or the judge will reach. Okay? And then finally, I'm just going to emphasize one other one here, and that's writing point number 7. When you put forward a good thesis, which a few of you did, there were a number of you that struggled a little bit with it with this first essay, but a couple of you, 2 or 3, had solid theses. But you have to make sure that the body of your paper also is aligned in response to your thesis. So don't tell me igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary in your thesis statement and then approach those in a different order than how you gave them to me in your thesis. Or don't have a wonderful thesis statement that then you use different evidence to prove other points in the body of your essay. Okay? So these are a few things I want you to think about. Writing point number 2, writing point number 5, and writing point number 7. And let me just say this last thing. Writing point number 3, I think, explains part of the problem that each of you had. That is good writing, you have to understand your topic before you start writing. There's nothing more frustrating in this world. Or, I guess I'm overstating that. There are some things more frustrating. But one very frustrating thing is to start writing a paper that you're not prepared yet to form an argument for. You have to spend a little time with the material, go on a walk, wait for that material to hit you and have there be a pattern and have a light bulb turn on, and then you can say, aha, that's what I'm going to argue. Because then you can put your ideas into a pattern, and then you write, and bam, that is so much easier to do than to start writing before you really know. Okay, so keep it up. I can tell you firsthand of my students, particularly in my online courses, they get better as writers as the quarter goes on. So as long as you're willing to work and keep working and focus on these things, you're going to do great. Okay, so with that, I will stop. Take care.